In this video, I will be describing a method used to make triangles like that on the end of segments. So with the cut already made to fit it up. You can see one of the things about this, it's a compound angle. So what that does for you is it keeps it consistent all the way through. So no matter how far in you turn, you get the same look, the same size triangle. When making these triangles, it's important to make the cut at the same end of the board every time, either the right side of the board or the left side of the stick that you're using for the segments. If you don't, this is what you get. It is for the other end of the segment, in other words. So the triangles are different. So the bottom line is you want to be consistent. Always cut from the same end of the board when you're cutting on the miter saw. I have the miter saw set up to cut the angles to put triangles on the end of segments. I have the blade angle set at 30, and I have the saw, the miter angle set at 15 degrees, which is perfect for a 12 segment ring. Neither of these angles has to be perfect. The 30-degree triangle is up to you. You can make that triangle whatever you want, just stay consistent. So once you get that set, cut all your triangles at the same angle. The miter angle, even though it's for a 12-segment ring, is not the cut that's actually going to get put together as a ring. And I'll show that later. So don't spend a lot of time getting the angles perfect. I'm going to do a 12 segment ring on this first one. I'm probably going to switch to 24 after that, which will move me down to a 7.5 degree angle. So that's the setup on the miter saw. So this is my model. All of the cuts have to be from the right side. So I have the set block, the hold down block on the right side, and I will just turn the pieces around as I cut. The length isn't absolutely critical. I just need it long enough to get 4 segments out of it. So I have this stop block set up to cut the wenge pieces, and I don't really need a hold down clamp because the blade is pushing in, and I'm cutting these short little pieces. I'll demonstrate a couple cuts. I need 12. So that is the piece that's going to go on the end of each of these sticks. Okay, so I've got these pieces cut, and the next step will be to glue these pieces of wenge on, and they're not usually that easy to find the right angle. So I'm going to glue these on using quick and thick glue. And each of these wenge pieces is exactly the same because I used that stop block, and that'll become important when I go to cut, which I'll show you. So I'm going to glue both ends on to each piece. And then move it up out of my way and use my hands to clamp. Again, I'm just doing 10 to 15 seconds. Okay, that piece is done. I've got 5 more to go. They're going to be exactly the same process. I won't video. So I have these glued up and the edges aren't perfect, so I'm going to put them on the disc sander and just try to get a good edge on all 4 sides so that I can get good angles on the wedgie sled. Okay, so I have the wedgie sled set for 15 degrees or 12 segments, And what I'm going to do now is I want to make the cut right on that line, or actually just to the left of the line between the two woods. So I am going to try to line it up there. I'm going to use the edge of my wedgie sled as a base, and then I'm going to try to set this sled, or set this stop block. I'm going to try to set this stop block to make it so that I don't have to play around with the other ones, and they'll all be exactly the same. Okay, so that's pretty close to perfect. So I'm going to cut the other ones the same way. The stop block is set, and then I rotate it and do the same thing on the other end. So now that I have all these triangles cut, and you can see why the angle wasn't critical, because this is the edge that's going to get glued up. Ready now to cut these segments. I've got a 2.7 inch segment length. Hopefully this stick is long enough that I can cut both of them. I had one stick that was a little too short to cut, flipping it around. So this is how you solve that. I use one of the other segments to mark it, and I'm going to line it up and cut it on the saw. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but I'm trying to get as close as I can get. Okay, I'm going to put it together and check the fit. Oh yeah, that's a very good fit. So that one's ready for glue up. So I am in production mode now, and each of these sticks is about 23 inches long. So I am trying to, I have the stop block set up to give me roughly equal pieces. I'm cutting all of the cuts on the right, and I'll walk you through the cuts. Then I move it down so that it touches the stop block. Grab the hold down clamp. I'm going to hold on the right side and cut. So at this point, I have a good cut on this end and a good cut on this end. This one I'm going to flip over and put aside to come back and cut again. And again, flip it over, sit it aside. So this one has a good cut on this end. I just need to turn it around and get the other end. And I'm just trimming the ends of these. That's my production method for cutting these pieces. I'm about to go into production mode on cutting the wingate. I just thought I would explain how long to make this piece. So here's one as an example, and it's set up. I'm going to try to hold it still and so you can see 7.5 degree angle, but it'll still be a 90 degree cut in this direction and the piece is lined up with the corner, and you can see this piece is just a 1/16 of an inch longer than it needs to be, which for me is just about perfect. Production mode about to begin. The cutting method for cutting the wing is exactly the same as I showed before, so I won't repeat that.